Hey y'all, for those of y'all that know me know my hair has been like this for about a month now. It's not by choice. No, it's not by choice. When I do my hair, I like to, finish it off with the little Got to Be glue spray. Just to keep it in place. Well, I didn't have any more Got to Be glue spray, so I used this. Gorilla Glue spray. Bad, bad, bad idea.
By now, we've all heard of the unfortunate saga of a lady who decided to use Gorilla Glue spray in her hair. Despite rumors of a lawsuit against the adhesive manufacturer, one has yet to be filed. But this does raise an interesting legal question. Would she have a case or get laughed out of court? Joining us is our legal expert, David Hoffman, founder of the Hoffman Law Firm. Thank you again for joining us. And this is a story that's been sweeping the nation. No one can understand, why did she spray a building adhesive, not just Elmer's glue, but a building adhesive in her hair, thinking that it was going to be safe?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. It doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like the kind of thing that you would look at, because it was to be replaced with hairspray. Like, she had run out of actual hairspray, is what my understanding is. She ran out of hairspray and decided to use Gorilla Glue spray in place of beauty supply hairspray.
Exactly. And so I just want to make very clear that she has refuted claims that she was going to file a lawsuit against the Gorilla Glue manufacturer. So there are no pending cases at this point. But on its face, David, it just sounds like a non-starter, is it?
Well, it does sound like a non-starter. The only thing that I would caution with things like this. Now, there's a big difference between the case that I'm about to reference and this one, and that is that she has been all over social media. She posted, I think, the event itself or shortly thereafter, and she's posted comments, and there's a lot of evidence out there that she has posted already on social media. But to the question of whether or not it's a frivolous lawsuit, my instinct would just tell me we don't really know based on what's been published at this point through regular media. I think back to that hot coffee case out of Florida, and that was a case where insurance companies actually latched onto that case because the initial fact scenario that a lady picks up really hot coffee, puts it on her lap, spills it, and gets millions of dollars. That was an easy story just based on a very superficial level of facts to spin in favor of the insurance company that, oh, there's so many frivolous lawsuits. We can't have a justice.
Make fun of that case too in its nascence, because people thought, oh, sounds so ridiculous. But in fact, it actually had quite a lot of merit.
Most people don't really know the true facts of that case. Number one, McDonald's had been warned over and over and over again that their coffee was actually hurting people. It was at a level, they were able to somehow get their coffee machines to produce coffee that was hotter than boiling, is what my understanding was. And a lot of people were getting hurt, and McDonald's knew they were getting hurt, but there were records from a board meeting or something along those lines that showed that McDonald's, they evaluated their cost of defending lawsuits and payouts to the profit they made off of the coffee, and decided they would continue to produce coffee at that temperature, even though they knew that it was hurting people. And that's what the jury actually heard. The people that make up a jury they are the same people that walk the streets, that the people in front of you and behind you in the checkout line. They're people that that you run into on a daily basis. Those are the people who make up a jury. So for a lawsuit to garner a recovery such as the hot coffee case, there was a lot of evidence that really, really, really upset this jury against McDonald's. And in fact, the punitive damage award in that case was 1 day of coffee profits for McDonald's. That was what they awarded, just 1 day of their percentage of profit from coffee. Mm-hmm. That being said, and I go through that litany for this purpose, what I know about the Gorilla Glue, say that 10 times fast, right? Yeah. This Gorilla Glue case is slightly different because most of it has been published by her even. So I don't know if there is some other information out there where Gorilla Glue knew that people are going to be using this on hair, and let's not put hair on our warning label. Instead, let's just put skin, because we do want people to use this on their hair secretly. You know, if there's something odd like that, I would submit potentially there's a case. But remember from a few weeks ago when we spoke, one of the things you've got to realize is that you've also got to prove damages. So the only damage that I've been able to find researching this case is that she's complaining of long-term headaches. Well, you're going to need an expert. You're going to need doctors. You're going to have to hire people. If the headaches go away, there's really no damage. She, I believe, recently shaved off all of her hair.
She's got a shorter haircut, which looks great, by the way, but
it does look great
obviously unintended.
So arguably, where are the damages? Because cosmetic damages that are self-induced very rarely bring huge recoveries. Now, I have read where several, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I hold that thought, because we do need to take a break here. When we come back, I want you to finish your thought. And then I also want to talk about when common sense completely eludes us, does this have any bearing on companies that sell all kinds of products on the market? We're going to do that in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've been chatting with our legal analyst, David Hoffman of the Hoffman Law Firm, and we've been chatting about the Gorilla Glue saga, a lady who sprayed Gorilla Glue in her hair as opposed to putting hairspray, which caused, as you can imagine, terrible ramifications. But we've been talking about whether or not she could potentially have a case because of her bad decision. And you were starting with, you were just ending with a thought before we went to break, David, and I so rudely interrupted you. Can you go ahead and finish what you were saying?
Nothing rude at all. What I was going to say is just that I have read some other lawyer opinions on this matter. And it's probably about 50-50 whether or not they think that the claim would have any value. And that tends to center around that, number one, the warning label didn't specifically say hair and things of that, and that it's an inviting color and it's a pleasant looking gorilla on the label, which, you know, me personally, I'm not sure that that's gonna hold water, that the gorilla looked inviting. So I sprayed adhesive into my hair. I'm just not sure. And the other thing that you don't get the benefit of is when these lawyers were asking these questions, it was then being paraphrased and reported through media outlets. So I haven't had an actual conversation with them, but it's about 50-50. Me personally, with the facts as I understand them from social media, from what she's posted herself, I don't see much coming from this.
So this raises a whole other question, though. So when common sense completely eludes us, does this mean that a company has to think of every single possible scenario and put it on their warning labels, anticipating everyone's bad decision, potential bad decision?
Well, I mean, the quick answer to that is, of course not. Of course not. You know, in the hot coffee case, I mean, obviously the issue was McDonald's was warned over and over again. Your coffee is hurting people. It's hurting children. It's hurting adults. It's burning people. And they chose not to do it. So what I would suggest as a business owner myself, if every time somebody walks into my lobby, they're slipping and falling, I would think at some point, instead of a warning label, I would put some kind of traction down in the lobby. I mean, common sense honestly works both ways. If you are turning out a product that you start to find out is causing damage to people, I think it does at some point fall on you to make those changes. But, you know, somebody comes along and puts on I don't want to just keep falling back to this example because we don't know all the facts, but somebody spray on Gorilla Glue instead of using hairspray. You know, if that's how it happened in real life, and that's the extent of the fact scenario, I feel pretty confident that that's probably about where it's going to stop. And incidentally, she is now saying that she does not plan on a lawsuit.
Well, and that's good to know. It certainly hasn't stopped anybody else from trying it. It sounds like there's already another case that has emerged that someone else has now applied glue on their hair. So I think we'll leave it at that. People just need to make better, safer decisions. So I think the takeaway here is don't use a building supply on your hair and don't sell injurious beverages.
Don't inject bleach to try to cure COVID-19. Things like that. Common
Yeah,
sense.
no, we won't be doing any of those bad things. Well, David, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're back after this.